My name is Barbara Perez. A few years ago, I decided that it was time that I finally just take the plunge and do what I know I was always meant to do, which is to be a stand-up comedian. And I have been a comedian for just under 4 years, the past 3 of which I have been living and performing in New York City. While I was living in New York City, I performed at New York Comedy Club, Broadway Comedy Club, Greenwich Village Comedy Club. I interned with one of the top comics in New York City while I was there, and the lessons that I learned were absolutely invaluable. So in May of 2013, I had a lot of signs that it was time, and I needed to take the plunge and do the walk of faith to put Project Highway on the road, no pun intended. In leaving New York City, it was scary. I was totally operating in faith because I would be leaving behind a job that I loved. I had a great place up on 135th. Because I was living in New York City, I had no need for a car, so my car back home had been sold, which means in going back to Colorado, where I believed is where Project Highway needed to start from, I was going to have no car, no job, nowhere to live, and I didn't care. You can live 100% in faith, and that when you're following your dreams, everything that you need will be provided for you. And it's very scary. On a day-to-day basis, it's scary, but it's possible. And that's what Project Highway is about. So, not having a place to live, I did what any insane person would do, and I put it out on Facebook.
Believe it or not, Facebook. And she told me about Project Highway, and it was like, okay, that was it. That was my sign. Everything has to have a sign.
I was friends with Barb along with my mom, but probably a few years before she went to New York, we all got even more excited for her. And then we heard about this whole Project Highway
through our Northside group, and we just clicked. But also we had a spiritual connection. We live in the same town and never crossed paths. Literally ran in the same neighborhood with the same people.
When my mom said she needed a place to stay, we were like, well, we've got a lot of space, so why not?
You got to come stay with us. That was that. I talked to my family, and we agreed that it was just a good idea.
I was following her through her radio station and all that, and when my mom told me, I was just so excited. Everything was falling into place so perfect.
I mean, the girl came, didn't even have a car.
So I found a site online where people rent their cars out, and I made contact with this phenomenal woman named Jordan.
And then all of a sudden, it's like being delivered the next day. She's got a car from this woman who, again, none of us met.
It was a weird thing I've never heard of, and I thought it was just really cool.
I mean, you're renting your car to someone that you have no clue who it is, and for all you know, your car just might be gone the next day, but I trust her.
And I was really excited to help somebody out who was moving across the country because I did the exact same thing, and I didn't have anything out here when I moved.
Her car then was wrecked. Her primary car was wrecked.
It was really hard for me to take back the car when our new car crashed, and I was really worried about it, and I wanted to help her find somebody and as soon as I could, because I didn't want to leave her, without a car. Eventually I found this guy in Fort Collins, Steve.
I'm willing to trust people, and I find that if you extend the hand of trust even to strangers, it usually comes back to you in a positive way. Well, if we all just kind of shared what we have, then we wouldn't need to produce so many things, for one thing, and that would be less environmental damage. We would be friends with our neighbors more. Peer-to-peer sharing is one small step we can take to help address that issue.
Initially, when the concept of Project Highway was formed, it was going to be just myself. And upon thinking about it further, I realized that it just wasn't a good idea, for me to be traveling the country by myself. And I had several choices in who I wanted to approach with this. And when I moved to New York City, Mike Motz was one of my first friends there. And we've gotten very close, and I knew that I could trust him, and most importantly, I had a sincere faith in the fact that he was actually insane enough to do this with me.
Driving around the country, just going into bars and just doing That is the stupidest idea I've ever heard in my life. You can't, that's not the way you do it. That's the exact opposite of the way you do it. I've been performing comedy for about 7-8 years now. I've been very fortunate to train with some of the top comedians in the country. I'm also an improv artist. Well, I've been performing in New York and in New Jersey for a long time, but I really started getting the itch. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to get out of the area. I wanted to see the country. I've never really traveled around the country, only a few certain areas. So when Barbara really started pushing this idea, it went from something to me that I thought was crazy to something that needs to be done. And we're going to go out there and do it. And Barbara's the perfect person for me to couple up with on this because she is so well organized. She's got everything wired down, and I'm what you call domestically incompetent. And you're going to see a lot of that kind of happening, and it's really going to try Barb's patience. But she should be okay with it. I think I'll get better as we go along.
So, like, this is the clothes. This is like the little kitchenette. This is a hot pot. So we can make hot water and do coffee. And then a little crock pot, and then like a little tiny frying pan. So I can cook on the road. They go into the power inverter that plugs into the cigarette lighter. So then hanging clothes are here. Here is like cooking utensils, tin foil bags, things like this. And then the seats, you can't tell because of the clothes right there, but his seat will scoot back and go almost completely back. I'm short, so I can scoop mine up, and then mine will. And then in the back, in the trunk, is obviously that's a sleeping bag. And then this is all my office stuff. This is where I keep the files of everywhere that we're going, all of the paperwork, the release forms, everything, like all the files that I need, my cigarettes, and then like office supplies and everything are there. The amp. Don't take that out. Why are you taking that out?
You gotta show us some Marshall.
And then like this is a grab and go with towel, shampoo, everything. So like when we go to a truck stop or we can get a shower or whatever, we just grab this, and this is everything you need for a shower, the conditioner and body wash and towels and everything. And then miscellaneous stuff, like first aid equipment, extra electronic supplies, vitamins, like just miscellaneous stuff, or little blankets. Like this is, I got this down. So like here's the food, and all of the food is stuff like you can make that and put in the canned chicken. Like we're not starving. Like the crock pot and the frying pan and everything, we're doing all right. Got this. So we're getting ready to take off for Project Highway. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I think so.
You're gonna be living in a car. You're gonna be going to Nebraska, South Dakota. There's gonna be people that have never bought pizza by the slice. Are you okay with that?
I'll talk slow.
But I don't know what it is. I wonder, maybe it's the top of an oil well? No.
We saw it like 10 miles away though.
Yeah, what is that?
Can we get there? Are there cars around it?
I don't know. There's a bunch of cars around it and there's flames. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen too many scary movies like that. What is that?
We're driving about 15 miles on unpaved road now.
And Mods is tripping out because there's no pavement.
What kind of a barbaric place is this? Children of the Corn.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Hey, a meal is only as good as the sauce, so make sure you try Henry Hill's Goodfella Gourmet Sauces. One taste and you'll see why Henry Hill's Goodfella Gourmet Sauces are becoming the most popular marinara sauces in the United States. So try Goodfella's Marinara Rosa, or Fra Diavolo, or Sunday Gravy, the same recipe as the gravy being made when the helicopters were flying over Henry Hill's house in the movie Goodfellas. Visit www.goodfellasfoods.com or call 308-539-0668 to place your order today. And hey, tell them Project Highway sent you.